welcome him with a big round of applause. I also request Mr. Balawant Joshi of Idam also to join with us on the dais. Please welcome him. And I also request Mr. Himanshu Bhatt, who is also to join with us on the dais. I welcome you all in today's public seminar. We also welcome the past president, district person of Rotary Mumbai, Mr. Praveen Shah. Praveen bhai, aapka swagat hai. Friends, please give him the round of applause.
Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
I request Dr. Balwant Joshi, MD of Idam Infrastructure Advisory Private Limited, to speak on the subject Rooftop Solar System for Cooperative Housing Societies. Over to Dr. Joshi.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, big thanks to Rotary Club of Borivali and Maharashtra Society Welfare Association for organizing this particular event, this particular conference, for creating awareness about the rooftop systems, solar rooftop systems, especially for the cooperative housing societies. Something about my company, Idam Infrastructure Advisory. So the Idam Infrastructure Advisory, as the name suggests, we are a consulting company, and it was founded by me along with one of my colleagues. Idam is a word which comes from Sanskrit. Typically, if I have to do the literal translation of Idam, it means it. It is usually used to refer to time, refer to earth. So what we have done is that we have kind of given a little bit of twist of ourselves on our own, and we say this earth at this point of time. There are 5 dots, if you can see around the earth, which is there at the center, which represents 5 basic elements, which you can see, that is air, earth, fire, water and sun. So space. So these are the 4 or 5 basic elements which actually cause churning around the earth, and we need to keep it stable or sustainable. And so that's our goal, to ensure sustainability of this earth, this moon. Having said that, we work in the rooftop sectors across many states. Nearly 20 states we work on various issues related to the rooftop sector. How to install rooftop systems, how to assist the distribution companies, like in here, Adani Energy or Adani Electricity. So the distribution companies which are at the state level, like MahaSEWA or MahaSEWA earlier, what we used to call, how do we help them in implementing the solar rooftop systems, help the governments in preparing policies, help the regulators in preparing regulations. So you can see that we have worked in so many states only in the rooftop sector in the country. Next. Many clients from the World Bank and Asian Development Bank to companies like Tata Power, companies like Suzlon have been our clients, and large number of the government sector entities have been our client, as we have been assisting them in the various issues related to the renewable energy and in this case particularly rooftop solar. So when we talk about the rooftop solar, what exactly is the rooftop solar? What we have seen for a long period of time is there on the left hand side of this particular slide. That is solar water heating systems. In some states, in some cities, those were even mandatory to install solar water heating systems. Unless and until it is water heating system is installed, the OC will not be given. Okay, that used to be the norm. And in fact, in the cities like Thane, or if you go to cities like Bangalore, it is even today mandatory that you have to have the solar water heating system to get the OC. But what is the problem with the solar water heating systems? You have seen, you may have your friends who are living in those cities. The challenge is, first of all, how do you distribute the solar heated water? Somebody starts the hot water tap in the morning, and then it drains the entire water, and then nobody else gets the hot water. So that has been the challenge, the distribution of hot water among the flat owners. But also the challenge now, in terms of what is there on the right hand side, that's a solar photovoltaic system. What does it do? It converts the solar energy into electricity. So there is no question of issue of distribution of electricity among the different flat owners. It gets distributed to everyone equally. In terms terms of the solar photovoltaic systems, there are multiple types of systems. But typically what we look at is the on-grid systems, which are there on the left-hand side. That's the rooftop systems and the ground-mounted systems. Some of you would have seen the large projects spread across in the states like Rajasthan or even in Maharashtra on the Satara side, Sangli side. There are a large number of such projects. But also you would have seen something which is there on the right-hand side. That is off-grid solutions. Earlier we used to carry those solar lanterns. We used to give them. We used to give them to the, in fact, Rotary has conducted several projects wherein the solar lanterns were gifted in the tribal areas. So that has been a very common, famous application. But today the applications are multiple. And there are agricultural pumps which run on the solar alone or solar PV systems. Then there are, if you see on the right hand side in the tribal areas, people carry those solar panels over their back in a higher area, higher hilly terrains, so as to provide light as well as fan in those areas. So these are the typical applications of the solar PV. Let me come back to the earlier slide and state what is the challenge between the solar water heaters and the solar PV systems, or what is the comparison between these two. Because solar water heaters, one is of course the allocation of water among the different landowners, but the another one is it has not only one application. Like if there's already a month of May, what do you do with the hot water? Most of us don't take even bath with the hot water. So the applications are very limited when you have a solar water heating system. Second thing, over a period of last 8-10 years, the prices of solar PV systems have dropped down so much that today it is far more viable to put the solar PV system on your rooftop than put the water heating system. So in terms of the financial viability, financial benefit of the solar PV system, it is far better than the solar water heating. I think I don't have to overemphasize that we are in a sunny region. I think there are very few countries who have got more than 300 sunny days, and that quite a few months which are very hot. So with a very, very bright sun that we come across, as against the countries in Europe or countries like USA, where the sunshine or the sunny days are less. The average radiation from solar that is received on Earth is far less as compared to India. So obviously, the solar has got far better application in India as compared to the European countries, Germany, UK, or even the other Nordic countries. And you would have probably heard about that what kind of strides Germany has taken in terms of installing the solar rooftop systems. If Germany could do it with as less as half the radiation of India, why can't we do it? And that's something which we need to mull over it. So in terms of potential in India, it's huge. It's huge. Just to give you perspective, today the installed capacity in the country is around 350,000 megawatt. That's one number. But the solar radiation using the old technology, even if we just look at it, is more than 750,000 megawatts. So more than double the capacity that we exist available today. And this assessment has been carried out using the earlier or nearly 7 or 8 years old technology. If you try to do the solar resource assessment today, it would be far more than this. As against that, what kind of solar systems that we have seen? We have got less than 30,000 or around 30,000 megawatt of solar systems, and out of that only 3,000 or 3,500 megawatt of systems in the. What does in terms of the energy, like let me talk in terms of the what kind of a household energy requirement and where do we get for the household energy supply. Currently, the solar potential that we have in India is sufficient to provide electricity to all consumers in India using solar in terms of only energy I'm talking about. However, currently the solar generation that we get is not even sufficient to supply solar energy to city of Mumbai. So that will give the perspective in terms of energy, what potential we have as against that what we have achieved. So what we have achieved is very, very small, less than 2%, 3% of the potential that we have in the country. And we need to do something very, very quickly to be able to achieve that potential. Why I am saying that we should achieve that potential? What other sources we are using? 60 to 70% of our electricity comes from coal, which is highly polluting, which has got significant GHG impact. It's a carbon producing, CO2 producing, carbon dioxide producing electricity. Okay. We need to reduce that. If we have to ensure the climate change, all of us would have heard, we have seen very abnormal natural events occurring even in winter, like, we have seen snowfall at places where we have never heard of snowfall. We have seen unseasonal rains and unseasonal heavy rains, not just a mild shower, unseasonal heavy rains. These are the climate change related impacts. So we have to avoid those impacts. In the scientific terms, if you have to maintain the global temperature rise to less than 1.5 degrees Celsius, we need to quickly move from coal-based generation to renewable-based generation. And among the renewable-based generation, there are two major sources. One is wind and another is the solar. Solar, till 10 years back, very, very expensive. The cost of generation was as high as 17 rupees. When we worked first time with the government of India in 2009-2010 in the National Solar Mission, the benchmark tariff, the benchmark cost was decided to be 17 rupees a unit. The same cost has come down since 2010 to 2019 dropped down by more than 70%. So today, for those kind of plants, 50 megawatt, 100 megawatt plants, that cost is somewhere in the region of 3 rupees a unit. So you can imagine, and as against that, the cost of coal-based generation is even sometimes higher than that. Kilowatt. So sorry, in fact, at home when we consume electricity, we all of us know, we talk about units, saying that, अरे 3000 यूनिट खर्चा हुआ ये महीने में, 5 AC क्यों चलाते हो यार, 2 AC 3 AC बंद करके रखो, दिन भर AC नहीं लगाने का, correct? So when we say unit, it's a kilowatt hours, and that is what the unit typically most people understand, because that's what comes in on the bill, right? So in terms of units, I was saying that the solar potential is sufficient, that is available to us to meet requirements of all Indians. Okay. In terms of Maharashtra, we have been little ahead of some other states or most of the other states in installing solar, and one of the reasons has been very high tariffs that we have in Mumbai or even in Maharashtra, MahaSEWA area. If you see if you have got a factory in Thane or any house in Pune, you would see the tariff rates over there are far higher, in fact, for some of the consumption categories than even in Mumbai. So if you are a consumer, and if you are a big consumer having 3 ACs, 4 ACs, so if your monthly consumption is more than 1000 units, right, the Maharashtra or MahaSEWA's tariff is more than even Adani tariff. Okay, so that's the what I would say economics. Next. So this is what I was referring to, Maharashtra, where do we have, so what happened when in 2009-2010 when the government was pushed by the international community to kind of reduce the GHG emissions from the country. The government announced at that time, Dr. Manmohan Singh was our Prime Minister, he announced the National Action Plan on Climate Change, and under that a mission was announced called National Solar Mission. That National Solar Mission set a target of 20,000 megawatt by 2022. Okay. This is 2009-2010. That target, when the new government came in 2014-15, increased to straight away 100,000 megawatt. The 5-fold increase to 100,000 megawatt was announced by this particular government, and everyone thought it's completely unrealistic. But what we see today, like when the 2009-2010 we talked about a 20,000 megawatt of target, at that time we also felt 20,000 megawatt is unrealistic because we were talking referring to the cost of 17 rupees. How can a country like ours absorb a 20,000 megawatt capacity at a 17 rupees a unit? The same kind of impression we had when the new government announced a target of 100,000 megawatt. But what you see today? So today the targets were for 2022, 20,000 megawatt by 2022. what we see today is more than 30,000 megawatt of capacity already installed, and at least 20,000 megawatt of capacity in pipeline, either at tendering stage or contract award stage or in execution stage. So what we clearly see is 55 to 60,000 megawatt of capacity coming up by 2022, which is already, its fate is already been sealed. The 100,000 megawatt the target when was given, the government also took care to divide that target into a couple of buckets so that there is a good focus, and the government gave a target of 40,000 megawatt for the rooftop category. Okay, this is a huge target, and I think on this particular count, the entire solar mission, I would say, is lagging a little bit. And that's one of the reasons why we are here. We are working with the World Bank, we are working with the Asian Development Bank to help government to meet its target or accelerate the process of achieving that particular target. The government gave the target of 40,000 megawatt for rooftop sector and gave the highest target of 4,700 megawatt for Maharashtra. If you see, and if you see if I really go back to the earlier slide, the Rajasthan has got the best solar radiation because it's a desert. Okay, so you get very good radiation over there. But despite that, the government gave the highest target to Maharashtra, 4,700, and I'm glad to say it over here that we are already ahead of everybody else in terms of installing solar rooftops. So the achievement of Maharashtra is also good, it's also significant. While there is only, if you see over here, 473 megawatt of solar rooftop has already been installed as of 31st December. Okay, and if you see, another state which is the closest is Tamil Nadu, 312 megawatt, Karnataka 273 megawatt. So we are already ahead of everybody in terms of the solar rooftop installations in the country. But if you see the share of residential category is very small. Out of 4,000 megawatt, only 521 megawatt, that's a kind of a share. Next. An organization called ORF, and this ORF along with IIT Bombay carried out a study of what is the potential in the city of Bombay for rooftop solar. And in fact, I was surprised to see this potential. It's a 1,300 megawatt of potential that exists for solar rooftop in Mumbai alone, which is huge. And out of that, if you see 80% potential, what we mean by multifamily apartments with commercial space and with shops. So this is the potential is close to 80%. That is more than 1,000 megawatt potential that exists in city of Mumbai for solar rooftop. As against that, what is the achievement? Is not even 100 megawatt. Where the tariffs are higher, where the population is educated, where the population is fully aware of the climate change related issues, they are environmentally concerned, but what we see is the potential or achievement is not even the 10% of what potential exists in a bare terms. Next. I already mentioned this, when we started working on the solar rooftops, for the large scale projects, the tariffs were as high as 17 rupees, but even if you say 2015, the tariff was more than 7 rupees. For the large projects, the tariff has already come down to 3 rupees. Next. However, is this the tariff that one can expect for the rooftop? I think this is a myth. I want to burst it at this point of time. These are the tariffs for which land has been given by government, for the evacuation arrangements have been made by the government, single sub-purchaser, large projects, lot of economies of scale, and as a result, the tariffs have come down significantly. But what we have done is that we have looked at done the analysis and see and put up over here a chart which shows what kind of a tariffs one can expect in the rooftop categories or the different categories of solar projects. So on the leftmost side is the large project, 100 megawatt project, which are spread over 600, 700 acres of land, single location. The tariffs one can expect in the region of 3 rupees. If we reduce the size of the project to 10 megawatt to 20 megawatt, the tariffs would go somewhere in the region of 3.5 megawatt to 3.7 megawatt, 3.5 rupees to 3.7 rupees. If we go to 1 to 2 megawatt, the tariffs will go up to 4 rupees, 4.5 rupees, somewhere in that range. And if you are expecting a smaller project, which would say fit onto the typical society in Mumbai, So typical society in Mumbai, what do I say? That there would be one wing, there would be 4 flats. Typically the size of the flat, the super built up, what we call it, around 1,000 to 1,500. So the total rooftop area available is around 6,000. That's a total rooftop. So the rooftop available for solar, because Dr. Bhatt will talk a lot about the challenges in the societies or challenges in the society buildings. But those kind of projects, what we can expect is around 5 to 6 rupees a unit is the kind of a tariff that one can expect. Those are small, require different level of engineering, but still viable. The tariff that you pay for the society's common supply is already more than 10 rupees or 11 rupees a unit. So it is still much more viable to install solar rooftop even without being bothered about the climate change, carbon emissions or anything. It just makes sense, pure economic sense, to install solar rooftop to bring down the society's maintenance cost. This is the chart wherein I have plotted the tariffs of the different distribution companies in Mumbai. On the left side is the BST, Tata Power, Adani or earlier Reliance and MSEDCL. If you see, this is what I was mentioning. As far as the BST, Tata Power, and these are the FY19 and FY20 tariffs, more than 500 units, that is likely to be the consumption of any society common supply connection. If you have got 2 elevators, common area lighting, society office lighting, and adjoining area lighting, it has to be more than 500 units per month consumption. It has to be at least 1,500 to 2,000 units consumption. So the tariff that you are paying for that consumption, if you are getting a Tata Power supply, it's around 12 to 22 or 13 rupees 10 paise or 1183 or 1167. So this is the kind of a tariff that you are paying already. These are energy charges alone. And this doesn't take into consideration the fixed charges that the society pays. Okay. If you are in MSEDCL area, in this year, you are likely to be paying 13 rupees 86 paise. So if you are at Pune or Thane, any of these high-rise buildings over there. Now I'm going to talk about the couple of business models. Actually, one of the colleagues, Mr. Nitin Bhatia from Origin Solar, was to make a presentation on some of the issues over here. Unfortunately, he has taken ill and he is not able to come. So I have included some of those issues which he was supposed to cover in this particular presentation. So how do you install solar rooftop system? Okay, one can say as simple as that, okay, call the contractor, ask him to install and do everything. Okay, but you have to remember, the solar power plant is an engineering project. It's not a consumer good. It's not like that you order air conditioner, you know what is the area of your hall, whether it's a 2-ton or 3-ton, place the order, someone will come and AC will be fitted. It is not as simple as that. Well, solar system appears to be simple, straightforward, and it is significantly simple and straightforward as compared to the other types of power plants, especially thermal power plants. It is still not as simple as that. There are a lot of technicalities which are involved, which Dr. Bhatt will talk about later. But I am going to talk about the 2 business models. One is that if society has got money, society can appoint a good contractor who will do proper designing of the system and install the system. You can enter into the EPC contract and get the system installed. That is a very simple capex model. So if you look at that, it's a simple capex model. Engage a contractor as you engage it for the painting or the building painting or some other work which you have to do it, or if you have to install new elevators, what you do? You place the order on the elevator company, they come and install. So similar way you can do that. But there is a second and very innovative business model, and which is called REST or OPEX. So in this particular business model, a third-party supplier will come, install the system on your building, and once he would sell electricity to you. So it will be his responsibility to ensure that electricity is generated. These panels, depending on where you are located, requires frequent cleaning. So they would take care of the cleaning part of the solar system. There are maintenance, inverters requires maintenance. Sometimes some wires get loose. So as a society, you will not be able to figure out when the maintenance to be done, how to maintain the panels, How do you look at the inverter efficiency? How do you look at the PR ratio? So those are the challenges which society would encounter, and this particular model takes care of those particular issues. So if you look at the comparison in the capex, the consumer or the society would pay upfront 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs, whatever is the size of your system, depending on that. While in the second model, the solar energy would be sold to the society on a monthly basis. At the end of the month, you would get bill, and that bill you have to pay the way you pay bill to Adani. So in the initial, also in the capex model, also there will be significant savings, but sometimes difficult to evaluate because you don't know the month-on-month basis generation. In the second model, you clearly know, okay, these many units came from the solar, these many units came from Adani, so what is the difference between the two? Benefit, in the first one, upfront capital investment, but some of the societies I have come across, they have got huge funds. Okay, and those funds they have to mandatorily keep it in an instrument which earns hardly any money for them in terms of interest. So those societies can look at the capex model, but most of the time societies don't have so much of funds. So in that case, one can look at the OPEX model or RESCO model. So in the RESCO model, most RESCO players charge some kind of a security deposit or so as to ensure that initial costs are reduced, and that cost of that security deposit is factored into the calculation of the tariff. Payback period, obviously if you are doing it on a capex, the payback period are little shorter. As far as the OPEX is concerned, obviously you don't calculate payback period because it's not your investment, you are just procuring electricity. Challenges, societies, it's very difficult to raise funds, and the challenge in the RESCO is how do you really select the RESCO. In fact, I am here because we are running a particular project, and that project we are running with the help or with the support from MacArthur Foundation. MacArthur Foundation is a US-based funding agency, and we have gone to them saying that this is the problem, and we are not seeing a lot of installations in the rooftop residential category, so they are supporting us in this particular project. The challenge that we have identified and challenge that we are trying to resolve is related to the funding. How does society get funding necessary for this project? Most of the societies we have come across are not able to raise money even for their regular requirement and from the banks. So as I said very quickly, capex is your own ownership, RESCO is the ownership of the third party. Solar generation, typically as one would envisage, is maximum at around 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. It starts reducing. In the morning it is less, in the evening it is less, and that's when actually the maximum consumption takes place in society. So there is a policy, and there are slides at the end about the net metering. What does net metering means? Whatever is the excess generation takes place during the day is supplied to the distribution company, in this case Adani Electricity, and then Adani Electricity technically supplies that energy back to you in the evening or in the night period. This particular policy is called the net metering policy. Very quickly, Dr. Third will cover, but essentially the solar rooftop system consists of the panels, inverters, combiner boxes, DC cables, AC cables, so on and so forth. This is, okay, I just want to show the, this particular video. There's a very small video, few seconds, I think 20-22 seconds video. What it shows that this particular society had lots of roof area. Okay, if you can see in the background. The challenge for the OPEX or challenge for while selecting the system for the CAPEX or for your own benefit, the challenge is that you tend to think, "Arey, na area, yahan pe solar kyun nahi laga?" Correct? But you can't put, because a lot of that area gets covered in shadow, and you won't get optimum generation. So you really need to do the engineering simulation to identify which part of your roof would be covered by shadow in which part of the year. And so actually for what is size of installation you would get maximum generation. I think I need to go through the project viability. The reason is, I have told you very simple terms. The cost of solar will be somewhere in the region of 5.5 to 6 rupees a unit. And if your consumption, society's common area consumption is more than 500 units per month, you are anyway already paying more than 800 rupees a unit. Okay, so the viability is very clear. It would vary little bit if you are going for capex, if you are going for opex, and what tariffs you negotiate with the capex or opex. Challenges and opportunities for the societies, particularly over here. High capital cost and lack of access to finance. This is the particular challenge we are looking at over here. Limitations of the technical know-how in feasibility study. How do you really find out how much area is really useful? Difficulty in assessing the competency of the vendors, the question you mentioned. Issues in getting timely approvals. Net metering approvals are required, building approvals are required. You need to do the structural assessment studies because there is a lot of wind load. Building permissions in case of elevated structure, and release of subsidy. There is a subsidy available for the cooperative housing societies for which guidelines have not yet been issued. So I really don't know what is the quantum of subsidy. But on 15th, the first draft, that is tomorrow, the first draft is likely to come out, and in a period of around 1 month, those would get finalized. Opportunities, solar prices are falling. You can really bring down your maintenance cost without actually taking too much of pain. So this is the last slide of my presentation. As I said, we are here because we are looking at a particular challenge. How do you resolve that challenge? That is, how do you ensure the societies are able to raise money to install solar systems? If you want to go for RESCO model, nothing like that. But if you want to do it on yourself, on the capex mode, because you have got some money but you want to raise 50% of the money through the bank loan. Today it's nearly impossible for societies to raise that kind of money. So what we are doing as a part of this project, we are identifying around 10 societies. We have got certain expression of interest form which one of my colleagues would share with you. So if you fill up those expression of interest form, around for 10 buildings we would select, and for 10 buildings we would do the complete hand holding. We will come to your society, we will do the shadow analysis, we will identify the solar capacity that can be installed. Then we would also help you prepare loan applications and will help you go to the banks to get the loans approved. So this is what we want to do it. So we want to actually shortlist those 10 societies. So if your society is interested, please share the details with one of my colleagues. Sonia Shukla is here and Amrita Nadkarni is there somewhere at the back. So one of them, we would send you. What we need is quickly the expression of interest, and expression of interest, filled up expression of interest as approved by the managing committee. Okay, and what we expect is that we want to complete this study before your AGM in August and September, so that your August and September AGM takes a decision to go for loan, okay, to the banks. And we are parallelly having discussions with multiple banks who can take the loan applications and probably look at approving those loan applications. So this is particularly what we are trying to do. This is the process that we have mentioned. So those of you who are interested, please get in touch with us. We will be happy to support your society in installing solar rooftop systems. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Balwant Joshi.